Welcome to Phonogenics 101, a Riotboy production hosted by Jeremy Gloff. The podcast where people who love music discuss albums track by track. Please hit subscribe, and if you'd like to support this podcast, patreon.com/Jeremy Gloff or Venmo @Jeremy Gloff. And now, on to the music. Welcome to Phonogenics 101, everybody. This is a podcast where we discuss albums track by track. I'm Jeremy Gloff from Tampa, Florida, and I have my Fleetwood Mac friends here. I have a new music video out called 813 Summertime. Look for SB times JG. It's a collaboration with the band Shower Beers. And as always, thanks to my Patreon subscribers for paying the bills. The Zoom membership is up in September, so I'll be especially thankful for y'all when I had to send in that payment. But anyway, John, welcome back. I thought you were going to Dave Walker us and only be there for one.
I was on my Christine hiatus for 15 years.
So you're back? Is this the On With The Show tour? All right.
This is the On With The Show tour. I can barely play attack piano, and I can barely sing, but I'm back.
Man, okay. I will say, I saw the Buckingham McVie tour, beginning of the tour and the end, and it was much better towards the last shows. I think I saw the first show in Atlanta. I don't know if it was one of the first shows, and it was kind of rough. But anyway, we are rewinding.
I saw 3 of them.
Was there a difference in quality as it went on? It got better, right?
The Denver one I went to was, I could barely hear her, and then the Las Vegas one, she was, in the way she sang "Wish You Were Here" when it opened up, it was like 1982 again.
Wow.
And then it was, so each show was different. Yeah. And he was different too. Like, he was having some throat issues too. But I mean, when I'm 70 years old, I hope that I look that good and sound that good. So
listen, I'm struggling at 50, y'all. All right.
Exactly.
Tonight we are going back to 1973. Now in the last couple of episodes, we covered a couple of my favorite albums of all time, Bear, Trees, and Penguin. Now, when I was a kid in the 80s, I guess, I was collecting these pre-Lindsey Buckingham Stevie Nicks albums, and I knew they had an album called Penguin, but it wasn't in any of the record stores in Western New York. So I didn't know what the cover looked like. I couldn't find it anywhere. I just knew it existed. So then finally one day, there was like a cutout bin in front of the record store, and then lo and behold, there was Penguin. And I was like, I loved the cover of Future Games. I thought, the kids in the water was very summertime. And then, of course, the cover of Bare Trees was, amazing. But then here in the cutout bin, we had, this with, is that, shaving cream? Is that shaving cream or clouds?
Clouds, man. Those are clouds.
/ shaving cream. So... And then here's the back cover. So I was like, oh. I remember being I was probably 8 or 9. I'm like, oh, this is Penguin. And I put it, went home and put it on. And then we'll talk about that. So tell me, friends, how you discovered Penguin and what were your initial thoughts on this album? Jim, go ahead. Start us off.
Yes, I have a confession. I do not own this album. But... this was probably in the late 80s when I was collecting the pre-Buckingham Nicks stuff. I was in a record store, and in vinyl, it was right there. And I don't know, I just didn't have a feeling for it. I thought the cover was kind of a little flashy or Hollywood in a way, and it just kind of, it just didn't feel right to get it at the time, and I still haven't gotten it. So, I like the album. I mean, I can play, I can just, I like to play on YouTube. There's a version that has no ads. You just play the whole thing, and just play the whole thing, and there's no problem. And I just don't own it. It just didn't. It just, kind of like it was different with Buckingham Nicks. I didn't know it existed, and I saw it, and I said, well, I'll get that. But this was where I just didn't pull the trigger.
So Penguin was the antithesis of Buckingham Nicks.
Well, it was just, I don't know. It was like I was getting so many Fleetwood Mac albums, and here comes another. And I probably knew the title. I may have known about this album. Maybe I didn't, but I just saw it and I just didn't get it. And
All
I
right.
don't.
Well, who would like to go next with their Penguin story? So far, Jim doesn't have the album. I found it in the cutout bin. We're off to a good start.
I also don't have the album.
Okay, Nick doesn't have the album.
But I did listen to it through various streaming services, including Spotify, so I was familiar with the entire album, and it have been for a very long time, and it happens to be one of my favorites, although it's not really viewed as such by most of the fandom. You have subsections of the fandom that does enjoy it, of course. You'll find that with most albums, maybe with the exception of Behind the Mask, but Penguin it's very eclectic. That's probably the nicest way you can put it. Other people would say that it's kind of discombobulated and it jumps from genre to genre, style to style, probably because it has 3-4 different songwriters on them. So you have these disparate stylistic choices of Welch. And then after that, you have some Walker songs. Well, Christine, and then some Walker songs, and then it goes back to Welch. Personally, I think that it does stand up very well, especially on repeat listens. Maybe one of the reasons why it isn't really held in as high regard is the fact that very few of the songs have stood the test of time within the band's live performances. Night Watch was one exception that was played until Welch's departure, but other than that, they didn't really pull from any of those albums. You have albums that have those big songs like Bare Trees, that's Sentimental Lady, you have Mystery to Me, Hypnotized. Penguin, meanwhile, doesn't really have that, and Penguin as such kind of moved into the background. It's not really noticed as much, and I think one of the purposes of this podcast is to shed light on why many people do enjoy it, myself included.
Well, I feel like anyone that's watching this podcast probably knows the history of Fleetwood Mac, but just in case someone's coming into it cold, Danny Kerwin was fired from the band when he smashed his guitar into the wall. He was replaced with two people, which happens a lot in Fleetwood Mac. One great guitarist leaves, two people come in. You have Bob Weston as a guitar player and Dave Walker as a vocalist. When I opened up this album, when I bought it at Record Giant, I opened it up. They're all singing like on a tree branch. And I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Like Dave Walker, because I had Mystery to Me. I had Bare Trees. Who the hell is this guy? So this album came out, I believe, in March 73. Then the next album came out like October 73. So imagine 6 months between two albums. Think about like 6 months ago, we were talking about like Kiln House on this podcast. And like these two Fleetwood Mac albums came out in that time. That's crazy. Tony or John, do you want to talk about a little history with Penguin?
Sure. I love this album, and it took me a long time to not think of it as discombobulated because it is in a sense, but if you package it with Remember Me and then Caught in the Rain is the end, and it's such a bright beginning, and of course there are Walker songs singing, and I think there's a Holland, Dulcer Holland, Christine McVie, of course. It's like just no matter what genre is going on, she just fits right in there somehow. And the opening of this album is it's so great for me. I'll talk about the individual tracks later, but I bought it with Mystery to Me, and I went, even your email said the 1973 album. I'm like, wait, there's two 1973 albums.
Yeah.
And it's incredible, to put something like this together so quickly and then do something as good as Mystery to Me. And they fired Walker. I think Walker actually was in the Mystery to Me recordings for a little while, and they fired him from there. And I think they fired Weston at the end of the album. So
right.
It's pretty amazing that they put this whole album together. I bought it with Mystery to Me, and I think Buckingham Nicks. Remember how they cut out the albums with a little slit in the
mine was a
album
cutout
cover? I bought 3 albums for like $10.
Wow.
So that's my story. But I like the personnel change because I like Weston. His guitar on, I think it was one of Christine's songs, they're Just Caught in the Rain. And I think he plays slide guitar. I like him as a musician, but not as much as Kerwin, though.
I
Yeah.
certainly agree with that. The dynamic duo of Kerwin and Welch is discussed quite frequently, but I think that the Welch-Weston dynamic is just as good, and the Midnight Special that you can find on YouTube is a great demonstration of that.
All right.
Agreed.
Tony, some thoughts?
Yeah, it's the second pre-75 Fleetwood Mac album I ever got. And because I was young like Jeremy and John, I had paper route money. So of course I would go and get them one at a time, and I found this one in the cutout bin too. But it's the second of the two. The first one I got was Heroes, and we'll talk about that when we get to Heroes. But that one I did not respond well to at first at all. It was too weird for me too. But this one, as soon as I put it on, the Christine songs were so much like her, and so genuinely. I thought that Remember Me and Dissatisfied could have easily been on the White Album, could have easily been on Rumors. I mean, those songs hold up. There's like a genuine charisma to those songs and the way she performs them. And I was like, whoa. And so within like 3 seconds of Remember Me, I was like, oh my God, this is great. So I really had a great time with it. Over the years, I mean, if you take Walker's songs out, and I think Walker's a really good vocalist. I just don't think he works with them, and there's not a lot of range. I mean, he stays in the same pitch the entire time on Roadrunner. But if you take his 2 songs out, then you have, if they could have come up with 2 songs to replace his, and just have Bob and her sing another song each, I think this album wouldn't have been as maligned or as dismissed as it has been, because the rest of the material is pretty solid. I think pretty well done. And it doesn't have these iconic songs in terms like Nick was talking about, Sentimental Lady. It doesn't have a Station Man. It doesn't have a Hypnotized. But the songs it has, the 3 Christine songs, all sound like singles.
Yeah.
They all sound like
radio. 2 of them
were. They all sound like radio songs. And the fact that they didn't make it on the radio is another story, but they could have easily gotten there. So I really, really enjoy it. The other thing I'm going to say about it is that even though it was recorded on the Rolling Stones mobile unit, the engineering on this album is excellent.
Yeah.
Especially in a song like Night Watch, where they reached a sonic peak at that point. They had never done anything that sounded that sophisticated in the studio sound-wise, and every instrument can be heard. So the fact that they were able to do that with that song at this time in their career is pretty amazing. I don't like the way Mystery or Heroes is recorded. They sound a little bit, I have different issues with them. I like the songs a lot and I love the performances, but with this one, I thought the way it was recorded was excellent. I just really, really good stuff. So I'm excited to talk about it.
Cool. Nick, did you have something to add?
Yes, I do. So I believe some of the album was actually recorded and certainly mixed at Air Studios. That was mostly for the overdubbing. That's where Green did his overdubs for Night Watch. I believe there were a few other instruments. Steve Nye did the organ for Night Watch as well at Air Studios. And I would assume that the steel drums were also recorded there too, but I can't confirm either way. Regardless, it does sound great. Martin Birch is back at the helm for production and Sparrow for it.
I think 3 different sets of steel drums were on the.
Yeah.
Is it Did You Ever Love Me? Is that the one?
Yes,
yeah,
that's the one.
yeah. I think so, and you can because I listened to the album today and the Dolby Atmos ATMOS. It is fantastic with the steel drums. I could hear,
God, yeah.
Where they were even placed in my head because you just close your eyes. I agree with Tony and you. This album recording is fantastic.
Well, I'm going to go back to my first impression when I was a kid. I had my little cutout album. my first impression, and we'll go into the track by track in a minute, but I was used to him starting with men. Like it was always like a Kerwin song started the album, Jeremy Peter Green song. So hearing a Christine song threw me off a little bit because even the songs on Mystery, like you have Just Crazy Love and Believe Me coming in track 2 and 3. So it really set a different kind of tone starting off with a Christine song. And upon my first listen and when I was a kid, I thought the songs were just a little mediocre compared to some other albums. But it's interesting, like on my way to work today, listening to the album, it sounded really fresh to me and the songs really popped. So I feel like sometimes when an album's an unsung hero, it grows with time and reveals. So I feel like this is an album that I didn't listen to it as much as some of the other ones, so it sounded really fresh to me when I was listening to it for this podcast.
I just to add to that though, if you took Buckingham Nicks and took Christine's songs and put it on there, but had Martin Birch and maybe some better musicians than on the Buckingham Nicks album, which Fleetwood Mac obviously, I think that would have been like your 1973 Rumors,
Yeah.
Because the songs, hers are pop and theirs are pop. Welch has a sophistication that it's you can't really put it in a genre. That's how weird it is. But not that it's bad, but I really think that when I listen to Buckingham Nicks, I got the same impression to you. It's like, who are these men in Fleetwood Mac in 1973? Especially because of the personnel change from Bare Trees. So I had the sort of same impression you did as a kid.
Right. Before we start the track by track, how do we feel about this cover artwork coming after all the Bare Trees?
I love it.
I still don't understand it.
It's because it's by Modula, I think it is, and that company did a lot of covers. But it's also there were a number of covers coming out at that time that were like that. Like the Grateful Dead's live album has a very similar looking cover,
like a Dead cover.
Yeah, and I think that they were really kind of plying that kind of market. Plus, it's the first album since, the previous two albums had very clear indication of who was playing on it. I think they were trying to hide the fact that Kerwin was no longer there.
Okay.
Because all the reviews for Bare Trees centered on Kerwin, and he was their focal point. So in some ways, they kind of, I think, were starting over, and they didn't want to draw attention to the lineup change. That's my theory.
Nick.
Yeah, and that seemed to work out very well for them. At the time, this album was the highest charting of the band's career, and it would take until Here's Are Hard to Find to reach that point. The band had conducted a tour in late 1972 beforehand, and those shows went out over very well as well. And then the reviews, I was looking at some of them through Cashbox, Billboard, Record World. All of them were pretty much universally positive. One of them even said it was their best piece of work since Then Play On.
Interesting.
And since then, you'll see Fleetwood Mac albums rank best to worst. Usually Penguin's kind of in the bottom 5. It's never the worst, but usually it doesn't go much higher than 14 or 15. So there's just a huge contrast compared to what the critics thought of it at the time compared to what they think of it now.
I feel like with this album, in synopsis, which I guess you're supposed to do at the end of the podcast, but let's do it at the beginning. Christine kind of really fell into her groove on these 3 songs. These are Christine McVie songs. Bob Welsh, every one of his songs on the previous albums were kind of signature songs, but he kind of went to that talk singing tunelessness a little bit more with some of the stuff here, which was cool. But sometimes I don't know the 3 Welsh songs apart. If I hadn't just listened to the album, I don't know which one's Revelation and which one's Bright Fire and which one, they kind of all just go together.
Shame on you. Shame on you.
I know.
They're all in different keys. They all have different tempos. They all have...
how do you, it's red and blue and green.
He's kind of muttering in, I can't tell what he's saying, but I like all the songs. But this really does kind of sound like the template for moving towards the White Album, the production.
Right.
I agree with that.
Was this the same cover person that designed? Because I feel like Bare Trees and Future Games go together. Was this Mystery to Me and Penguin same because these are kind of companion pieces, like two kind of like effed up weird covers.
Are you talking to cover art? Yeah, it
Yeah.
seems like that's the case.
Mystery.
Like
Oh, I'm sorry.
it goes from.
Mystery has.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, but Mystery has made the best of lists, the cover, and the worst of lists, depending on who the list. I mean, it's been on both lists. Is
I'm
a cover art.
I'm such a nerd. Like, some people want to travel the world. Like, I want to see the Eiffel Tower. Like, a trip to me would be to find this tree branch and take a picture on it. Like, that would totally be something I would do. Travel across the world just so I could take a picture. This tree probably doesn't
Tree's
even
probably
exist anymore.
dead.
Yeah,
Will you have a cigarette in your hand when you take your photo?
absolutely, absolutely. I'll be the Dave Walker. All right. Well, like I said, when I put the album on, I put the needle to the wax for the first time. I was a little thrown off to hear an opening with, because how many Fleetwood Mac albums start with the Christine song? Tusk, over and over. Heroes.
Mirage.
Sky's the limit.
Mirage.
Mirage.
Behind. Yeah.
Oh, I'm behind. Yeah, 5.
Yep.
Wow.
But this is the first one to open with the Christine song.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it threw me off. I feel like Heroes is an outlier. Like, it's such a funky, different sounding Christine McVie song, and I feel like Remember Me is more of your typical standard Christine song. So it's weird for me that it was the album opener. But when I was listening to it in the car today, I loved it. So, Jim, let's start with your notes. What are your notes on Remember Me?
Okay. Well, first of all, this album did chart at number 49 in the U.S. It's their highest to date in the U.S. And, Remember Me. I like how the band just like jumps in and starts playing. They didn't build up or anything. They just went right to it, and it's an easygoing pop song. Christine does a very good job harmonizing with herself. Lead and slide guitar work from Bob Weston. Just a nice, real good pop song. All three of Christine's are signature Christine type sentiment. You got to have the words and the sentiment and the emotion to pull it off, and she does with all three of these. She's just trying to win John's favor, and in the end did not.
All right, who would like to go next? Remember Me.
I feel like it's just to piggyback off of that. I feel like she was competing with alcohol. When I dove into this today and I was looking at her lyrics, it's always, she'll do anything to get your attention. You're the biggest thing in her whole world, but yet she's dissatisfied in the way I feel. And she loved the words feel about you. I mean, that comes back up in the Buck Fee.
Yeah.
Tony and I make a joke that Fleetwood Mac has a book, and Stevie and Lindsay and not Bob, but Christine, they all look from that book and they all write their songs from, pick their words from that book. And it's kind of funny. I think the bass in this song is really, if you listen to it, it's so good. And it's, I know Bob said he played some bass on there, but that sounds like John McVie to me. The mix really, Tony was talking about the recording. The mix really serves the arrangement.
Yeah.
So the way they arranged the song, whoever was at the mixing board, they took that arrangement and really pounded it out. And it's barely a 3-minute song. But it's a great way to just get your blood going, and then they go into Bright Fire.
All right, Tony or Nick?
I'll go. I think it's a fantastic opening. I fell in love with it the first time I heard it, and I instantly remember. I mean, like I said, I had a paper route, and I listened to the album, and then I had to go do my paper route, and the tune was in my head the whole time. It never left my head. The melody is very great. The slide guitar is Bob Weston, and that guitar line itself is as memorable as the tune.
Yeah.
And I did ask him in his Q&A on the ledge once if he had come up with the guitar line, and he said yes.
Wow.
The guitar line is his. Bob Welsh is playing a strum acoustic. I only know this because Gothic Trunk on YouTube isolates things.
Yeah.
You can hear Bob playing the acoustic to this. And the interesting thing is, if Kirsten was just singing with the acoustic strumming, it would be a great song. Um, it really is really at its core, it's just a really good little tune, and it's made up of about four chords. Um, and the bass is fantastic. Everything about it is great. I just love it, and I love the harmonies in it. You can hear Bob Welch in the harmony, and I believe
Hmm.
that's also Dave Walker in the harmony, um, doing the background vocals. It's great.
They let him back from the bar long enough to put on some.
It's what I love about the song is it's pop, but it's also R&B.
It's kind
It
of
has kind
groovy.
of it has an
Yeah, it has
R&B underpinning
backbeat.
to it.
It's like a backbeat to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Nick, were you familiar with this album before this podcast?
Yes, I was. I was very fond of it too, for
Okay.
that matter. So there were two singles pulled from the album. This, I think, was their first single in the US, was never released in the UK. And I actually have a review from Record World, who reviewed it, I think, in their June 2nd, 1973 edition of their publication. So they mentioned that it's culled from their rapidly rising LP Penguin. This selection is a folk rock mover that hits the pop target right in the middle. Could be their first huge single. It wasn't, sorry. If only it was, though.
But like there's so many Christine songs like "You Make Lovin' Fun," "Over My Head" that we just know they're iconic. But like going back and hearing this song today, it sounded just really fresh to me because I haven't played as much, and it's a great song. Like that guitar, is it Weston that's like he's in the right channel, right? More when you're listening, and like the mix is great. It's just I feel like Future Games is such a summer album, and Bare Trees is such a winter album. Penguin's very springtime for me. I feel like it's a new era. The flowers are blooming. Some of them will die pretty quickly, but yeah, it just seems very fresh. And the album sounded. I keep saying that sounded fresh. So definitely a thumbs up for this one, big time.
What are your thoughts on the live rendition at the Roxy? Bob Welch did it. Weston reunited with him on stage. I think Christine may have been there as well. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that.
Christine was singing on it.
Yeah.
Yes.
She said that she had done she and the band had rehearsed it earlier that day
Oh,
and
really?
talk up. It sounds one interesting thing is my take on it is that it sounds like an 80s pop tune.
Yeah.
The way they're doing it on the Roxy, it sounds like an 80s pop tune.
Isn't that
No
the one
longer,
where
no longer the slide guitar. It's a more of a crunchy guitar, but it's the same song.
is that the show where Stevie did Gold Dust Woman?
That is
Yes.
the same
Yeah.
show, yeah.
Yeah.
The
And
12-minute Gold Dust Woman, yeah.
they do Sentimental Lady, and Christine just looks bored. I just she looks bored in that show, or maybe she was drunk or on something.
Well,
Maybe
she seemed sarcastic too. Like he's like, you might remember this one, and she's like muttering something under her
She
breath.
goes she mimicked what he said. Well,
Yeah.
maybe we will remember it.
maybe she couldn't find a toot before the show.
And then she had a little meltdown at the end because she couldn't sing in C sharp,
I don't
the
remember
blues,
that.
the blues tune, and so they had to have Ann Wilson sing it instead.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on to track 2, we have our first Welsh song. Look at I'm like, which one is it? Bright Fire. I never could really understand what he was saying, so I went and read the lyrics, and I still don't. I know it's about Vietnam. Very poetic. Like he is. This
Okay,
is.
that's my impression
It's
of that era.
it's deep.
Yeah,
Like there's something deep in there. I don't quite understand it.
yeah.
Jim.
Oh, right. I mean, you mentioned Vietnam. I didn't write it down, but I was, looking at the lyrics and, studying it. I said, well, this might be about Vietnam. Just, and a lot of these songs on this album have that. Bob Welch's work maybe has references to that. So it's a very visual song. Most of Bob's contributions in Fleetwood Mac seem to be this way. There are interesting vocal instrumental textures at the end, perhaps African influences. Right at the end, there's like an I don't know, I can't repeat it, and it sounds something that would be on The Visitor or something.
Oh no.
The Visitor's great. I mean, it's kind of shocking, for the pop ear, but it's that's what they did, and it was genuine, and having the African people take a turn, and then Peter Green sings on it, and I think they did Walk a Thin Line too, which was great. There was just that little. Is that an instrument or is that singing? It's a real high pitch.
It's
really.
Dave Walker doing a falsetto.
Really? Well,
At the end, yeah. I think Christine actually is right before that, and then it goes to Dave Walker.
I love that part.
Me too.
That's great. It's just a great crescendo of this song. Bob's a real underrated, musician, and as a writer, he's kind of a guy you kind of hang out with and just shoot the breeze and just chill. That too. Even though I don't do that thing, but he's an interesting dude. It's too bad that I think he ran into some health issues, and he just said, "I'm not going to be sick the rest of my life," and ended it. So
I feel like this song is very much like Bob Welch, the philosopher. Like, he was just a very intelligent person, and CV Nicks is known for her like poetic lyrics, and I'm a huge CV fan. You can really go into her lyrics and interpret them, but I feel like Bob Welch was the same way. When I was reading these lyrics, I'm like, shit, if I wasn't so busy and had 20 things to do today, I could just sit here and really pick these apart. And he's talking about some deep stuff here in this song. And I think I might this might hit me more at 50 than it would have at 20. Like, this is, I feel it's kind of like life and death and the journey in between. And in a time of turmoil that we're in right now, some of the lyrics here about, flowers blooming in a dying world. I don't know. It kind of hit me. So I'm interested. What do you guys think of this song? The rest of you?
For me, it was kind of what you said. It was very philosophical. He mentions being all over the world 7 times. I forget how many times he said. He could see the future come in 20 days.
20 days. What a good line, right?
Yeah, I could see the future come in 20 days, and there's a song by Pink Floyd that Gilmore wrote called "Sorrow," and it has these same kind of images of green magnesium fire. You guys talk about Vietnam, and maybe that was the Agent Orange or whatever that they had there. But to me, it was just follow your own path no matter what's going on around you, and just look where the roses grow. And I love the Dave Walker chants, and I think it's a pleasant song to listen to, and just close your eyes and listen to what he's talking about, even if you don't know what he's talking about half the time. But I do see the philosophy of just following your own path, because he's talking about he has this life experience, and no matter what's going on, you have to stay in the moment and keep pushing forward. That's what I got out of it.
Because I feel like a song like Future Games, of course, had some depth to it, but I feel like this kind of revealed an even deeper thinking Bob than we had seen before. And I never really realized that till today. Because I kind of like, these songs don't reach out and grab you as much as Sentimental Lady does the first time you hear it. Like, you kind of got to pay a little bit closer attention to these. And damned if I didn't know until 5 minutes ago that Dave Walker did anything on this album besides his 2 songs. Like, so far, we have him on a harmony and Remember Me, and then doing a falsetto in this song. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. Where did you read about that?
You can hear it audibly. You can hear
look where the roses look where the roses grow, and then after that.
I always thought that was Welch.
It sounds like Dave Walker to me.
It's Dave Walker. It's a Dave Walker. It's a Dave Walker falsetto. Welsh could not reach that.
No.
I kind of feel like Dave Walker on this album was kind of like Stevie during Tango, where they just kind of let her in the studio to do a couple overdubs on a few songs.
Same with Behind the Mask too.
I love this song. I think it's you mentioned Dave Gilmour earlier, John. That the thing is, when I first heard the song, the first thing I thought of is that sounded like an early Pink Floyd album. Like, it sounded like something from either Metal,
yeah,
or, something like that. It sounded like something kind of in that zone, kind of that kind of trippy post psychedelic rock kind of thing going on. And he sounds a little lost in it, but I mean that's part of the charm of it,
Yeah.
is that he's being so open about it. He says, "Don't let the lack of our spirit blind your life." Um, could be talking about the band, could be talking about himself, could be, I don't know, but it's I think it's what wins me over with the song is there's a lot of space in it,
Hmm.
and it's very warm. Like there's an organ underneath it that's warm. The bass line, that's got to be John McVie playing bass.
Oh, gotta be John McVie.
That bass line is completely John McVie. So in the I guess my only complaint with the song would be that it as a second song, it's kind of weird because it already puts you in too mellow of a spot. It's like, you want to kind of rev up. And I felt like it would have been, if it was pushed a little back, it would have been a little better. But yeah.
Damn. I was just thinking, like, if Bob Welch was alive today, he would be on fire talking about shit. Like, he would have a lot to say about
You'd have
the
him on
whole-
every podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. Nick, what did you think of this one?
So I kind of group this together almost with the ghost, but it's even more mystical. I usually look at forums to determine what
Okay.
people's thoughts are on the songs, and this is one of the least discussed songs in their discography. I find great difficulties in determining what anyone thinks about this song, but
Really?
I'm incredibly positive on it. It's great, super lush instrumentation. The bass line is incredible. Love the lyrics too. There are a couple that I quote. I mean, more or less for fun. Like, let's look at some of them. I've seen the future come true in 20 days. I love quoting that one. I mean, it's mostly as a non sequitur, but it's enjoyable for me nonetheless. I think that it holds up very well, and I can easily distinguish this from the rest of the catalog. Sorry, Jeremy.
Yeah, I mean, I think if he said bright fire, like he says revelation in the song, and then there's a song called Revelation, so like it just confuses me because he doesn't say
And
bright
future.
fire in this. Yeah,
And
so
future.
yeah, so whatever. Anyway, I give it 2 thumbs up.
Too.
All right, moving on. Christine's back. We got to shuffle. We always love a Christine shuffle. Before Don't Stop was like the signature Christine shuffle. Dissatisfied, man. When I was listening to it in the car, like it just sounded really fresh to me today. Like Christine's pissed. She's writing a good hook. It's just very It's a breezy track. Signature Christine McVie. It's interesting because I feel like a lot of the songs on Penguin were kind of templates for what Christine McVie would become famous for. But I heard these songs after the ones that she became famous for. So maybe that's why they kind of sounded mid to me the first time I heard them. But like hearing them now in that context, I'm like, this was the first one like this, really, before all the other ones. So you got to give it the props. Jim, let's keep the format going. What are your notes on
Yes,
Dissatisfied?
another solid pop song from Christine. I like her keyboard work here, and the low key guitar work really adds to the song. It doesn't overrun it. It just in the background, but it kind of holds it together, kind of like the framework. So, I mean, just like she has 3 really good pop songs on this album. And it's too bad it didn't reach more ears.
All right, who'd like to go next?
Yeah, I think this could easily been a hit. So could Remember Me too because it was a short radio formatted song already. The lyrics though, I love that she's singing about a partner that's been drinking too much. It seems like to me, and even though she's dissatisfied, she of course always blames herself. It's something that she's doing wrong. What can she change to make them stop drinking? Whoever that might have been. I think Mick is so nicely spaced here with the drums. Oh my God, he stays out of the way. Yet, she's forging the song along like a band leader, but he's like picking up the pieces. And I love the sparseness of it. And then, of course, I think just my other note. It should have been a hit. This should have been a Fleetwood Mac hit. I wish it would have at least like made top 30 or something.
And like you said, John, there is a sparseness. I think the first time I heard it when I was 9 or 10, it's a signature Christine song with a little bit sparser production. So I think at the time, to me, it sounded a little unfinished. I don't think that way anymore, though. I think it's just perfect, just how it is. Tony, what's your thoughts on this one?
Well, obviously you think of "Don't Stop" when you hear this, but because they're both shuffles, but "Don't Stop" has the benefit of top scale arrangement and production, and they spent months getting that right, right?
Yep.
And the layers, they've got all the pianos in it, including a tap piano. Which Stevie did not
I'm
play.
sorry, Nick.
Yeah, I think I saw that on Wikipedia.
But no, but this one, I think on paper this is actually a stronger song than "Don't Stop." It's a stronger tune. It's got a better hook. It's
Better
got
melody.
it's got the verse, and then it's got the second verse before it goes, like the sub verse or the B section before it goes to the chorus. And so there really is a lot there, and the guitar solo is beautifully done. A really nice, sparkling little guitar solo by Weston. It's just great. I love it. And, she's, of course, mixed herself down, but you can hear, in addition to the organ, you can hear the piano on it. But, it's so funny, John, you mentioned the drums, because when I hear it, especially when they're doing the chorus toward the end, you can really hear Mick kicking the song.
Yeah.
And but they're never doing it too much. It's just so subtle, but it's just enough to remind you that they're a kick-ass rhythm section.
And it's stuff like that makes me realize they were kind of in a different league than Buckingham Nicks band.
Yeah,
even though that was more pop, the professionalism of what's being done here is a couple levels above what they're doing on this pop Buckingham Nicks pop album. Doesn't mean it's better or more radio friendly. It's just that, these musicians are on a different level.
Well, I'd love to do a little side survey here for the panel. What was worse? Bob Welch's rendition of Rhiannon on Fleetwood Mac Beyond, or when Stevie Nicks took the lead on "Don't Stop" when Christine was retired?
Well, I haven't seen the other one
Stevie's
yet.
"Don't Stop" is worse because more people heard it.
Oh goodness, that was not the best moment. Okay, back to the podcast. Nick, dissatisfied.
So I'm not very fond of shuffles. I kind of grouped this together with "Don't Stop," and "Don't Stop" is probably one of the. It's one of the songs I play least on Rumors. This is the same way on Penguin. I sometimes even skip it, actually.
Oh,
very catchy, melodic was the B-side of "Remember Me." Interesting that they decided to go with 2 Christine McVie songs on both sides of the single. It didn't really help either way, but I think it's okay. I don't actively dislike it, but it's the weakest of the bunch here. Even more so than the Dave Walker songs.
Do you like Get Like You Used to Be?
Not really, no.
It's
pretty boring.
it's another song.
Right, yeah. Not great.
all right.
I'm glad they abandoned that.
You can really hear that this was the band. You can really hear the band here had its roots in Freddie King blues. You can hear it. And it's what I love is that it is a pop song, but it's so connected to its roots. I love it.
And
she cited Freddie King. Yeah, she's cited Freddie King as an influence in many interviews, so not incredibly surprising there.
Well, let's rewind to 1985, 86, 84. I don't know what year. We have 9, 10, 11-year-old Jeremy. So we, listen to the album for the first time. We have "Remember Me," classic Christine McVie. I knew Bob Welch, "Dissatisfied." Then I'm sitting there. I think I almost fucking fell off my. What the fuck is this?
I think it was their attempt to introduce Motown-ish kind of because
Where did this come from? I'm like, where did this come from?
it's a cover,
Well,
and with Dave, it's not only is it a cover, but Dave Walker's the lead singer, and he's talking about the song context is, being tied down, and he doesn't want to be tied down, which is kind of the opposite of Christine. She wants to be tied down to an alcoholic. Um, I I have some positive things about this song because I like the bop bop of the keys. It reminds me of Three Dog Night of some sort. I
Oh,
don't know
sure.
why. Um, and that's it. I'm glad it wasn't a hit because it would have represented them like they were having like a Motown flavor, and it didn't translate.
They never played it live, from as far as I know, either. They didn't play this live. It's not in their shows. It's
There's
not
not
like,
too much audio from that era. There are only a couple
no.
that I was able to locate. And talking about the set list, a lot of the songs that Dave Walker sang, some of them were Green songs. You have Green Manalishi, Oh Well, I think Rattlesnake Snake or Rattlesnake Shake. Those are the three. Then there are a bunch of covers too. I think Going Down was usually their encore, right? Around this time. Tony, you can correct me if I'm wrong on that though.
No, that was it. That was his big thing. That was his, you know,
What band was he in? Savoy Brown or
Idle Race and Savoy
it was
Brown.
Savoy Brown.
Before or after? I can't
Before.
remember.
before?
Before.
I asked him in his Q&A why he wanted to join Fleetwood Mac, because Savoy Brown was a bigger act.
Mm-hmm.
And he said two reasons. One is Fleetwood Mac paid a lot more money,
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and they also gave me more freedom to do what I want. Whereas that guy from Savoy Brown, what was his name? Kit
Kim
Brown?
Simmons, I think, right?
Kit. Okay. Kit, whatever his name was, Simmons, whatever. He said he was kind of really a strict disciplinarian. Like he was a control freak. He had to have the control of everything. So he liked what Fleetwood Mac had to offer, which was more artistic freedom and more money.
Okay.
And they had also known each other on the road because they had opened for each other. I think
Right.
when Mac opened for Savoy Brown, you can see some newspaper articles. Within the same article, they're talking about both bands. It's pretty cool how their worlds collided. And there's actually an interesting story behind Walker's arrival. I know Jenny Boyd discussed it in her book. It was discussed in others, in that an invitation was extended to Walker. He accepted, but then I think John McVie called him saying that they extend the invitation prematurely and they actually haven't officially decided. And then eventually they came back to saying, yes, we really do want you in this band.
Was Cheryl Crow in on that call?
Oh,
Was she in on that call?
Was Cheryl Crow on that call?
I don't think she was, no.
see, I always thought that wouldn't have been as bad. I could have done that. I could have done stuff. Jim, what were your notes on I'm a Road Runner?
Yes, I got an interesting take. This song would have fit nicely in the mid '80s. A lot of songs were like this. The harmonica work reminds me of the '80s. There was a lot of harmonica bits there, and I think people were running out of material. The early '80s, the MTV era, was actually some real good stuff. Then it got kind of tired, and this is kind of like that. I mean, the band does great on this, and they hit it and they rock it out, but it's kind of like a little shallow sort of thing. Let's see. And that's it. I wrote down here Dave Walker on vocals. Yes, he.
See, I feel like when John said Three Dog Night, like to me, this is totally like Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
It's that dink dink, dink dink, dink dink. It's and I agree with you, Jeremy, or Jim, that they cover the song pretty well. I
Yeah.
mean, Fleetwood Mac was so versatile, and here's a genre, they covered it. Here's a genre, they cover it. Bob Welch, Dave Kerwood, Jerry Spencer, Peter Green, Lindsey Buckingham, Mike Campbell. I mean, they know how to cover so much different music. That's what puts them on a different level for me, and they cover it well.
Yeah, and
Dave Mason.
Yeah.
All along the
they
Watchtower,
didn't have good
right?
luck with Dave's. I thought the backing track was fantastic. Actually, they did a great job with the backing track. I love the piano. I love the drums, the way they're kind of like hitting past the drum. It rocks, but his voice is just too. It's the same pitch and same volume the whole way through. He shouts from the first note all the way to the end. So if you just took his voice out and even kept the background vocals in, It would be actually a cool little piece.
Well, Walker mentioned in his Q&A that he was dissatisfied with the vocals and that it was more or less a last-minute addition to the album. In the Bob Brunning book, he was interviewed as well, and he told him that it was very much a last-minute addition, that they called him while he was at the pub. He went over, did his part, but also played the harmonica part, and I think he did it pretty well. 2 tracks on this album with harmonica. I think Dave does the harmonica on this one, and Bob does it on the following track. I think that Dave's playing here is much better. I didn't really know he was a harmonica player. And he's replacing the saxophone line too. Have you listened to the original version, the Junior Walker original?
Yeah, I think that Mac really makes it good for the rock audiences. And, and David Walker, when he did the Q&A, was the nicest person. But I've listened to several of his audio stuff, like the live stuff. He's always singing this way. I mean, I've never heard him not sing this way. So he can complain that it was a bad take. But I'm not buying it. I just think it's him.
He was in Black Sabbath at one point, so.
I'd like to present.
That's right.
And he's still alive.
He was after Mac, he was in Black Sabbath for 1 minute.
Yeah, because Ozzy died and Ian Gillan, I don't know if he's still alive, but then Ronnie James Dio is dead too.
So as a listener of the album, to me, it was a little bit jarring that they end side 1 with a Walker song, then start side 2, then you never hear from him again. I always wonder, would it have been a more successful integration if they had spaced out his songs a little bit better? But another thing that just came to me is, because I will say right away, I actually love The Derelict. I love the song. I think I love the banjo. Imagine if they had flipped them and ended side 1 with Derelict, then you flip over the album and started with Roadrunner. I think that might have been better. Because I think Derelict has, it's kind of the Fleetwood Mac story, like a man in a raincoat. They're traveling, being kicked out of. I don't know. I just always liked this song, and I just feel like the sequencing, ending side 1 with Roadrunner, starting side 2 with Derelict was a shitty sequencing job. They could have done Dave Walker better justice. But anyway, what do you guys think of Derelict?
Well, Stevie has called herself the master sequencer, so if she was in the band at the time, she obviously would not have made that horrible mistake.
Yes, that's true.
She did not, Stevie, by the way, did not sequence any of those albums in the 70s. I mean,
no, I do know that Judy Wong did Rumors.
Judy Wong did the sequencing
Judy Wong did, yeah.
I think, Jeremy, I can see what you're saying, because if I'm a Roadrunner open side 2, it might have been a little bit more like, but I can see why they followed Dissatisfied with I'm a Roadrunner, because the subtle R&B of Dissatisfied gets followed up with this kind of shouter, but it just doesn't work. I like the Derelict. I liked it more when I was younger. I think lyrically it tells a story, but it gets a little bit sentimental, I guess.
It's a little hokey, I feel.
Hokey, yeah. But the backing track is really nice, even without a bass.
Yeah.
Yeah, he complained about that in the Q&A. He was saying it was always unfinished because we couldn't get John in the studio.
Yeah.
I think it's lyrically, I think it's weird because, he wrote this song, he didn't write the Roadrunner, but he wrote this one. And it's kind of about saying that he needs a sugar mama, because of where he is in his life. And I don't know the history behind the lyrics. But I just thought it was kind of funny following up with, not wanting to be tied down and then wanting a sugar mama. So lyrically, the arc kind of took a 180. I do like the harmonica, and I can't remember if this is the last album we hear harmonica in Fleetwood Mac. I know we have ARP ensembles. So go ahead, Nick. Did
yes, so on certain versions of I Know I'm Not Wrong, there is a harmonica, but it was removed for the vinyl version.
Okay, agreed. Okay. I like the bop, or this song. I feel like this song should have been left off the album, and another Christine song brought in or something. I just and I just think it discombobulates the album a little bit. It sounds like a country singer that was trying to sing some kind of a weird Motown thing. Now he's trying to sing country. We don't have bass, we have banjo. It's just really weird right here to start the album. Is this start of side two?
Yep.
It is, right? Yeah. It's just a really weird place to start. And then they go into Revelation, which is like, it's like, someone's drunk driving here.
Yeah.
And I really think that like that like that sequencing you're talking about where it's going all over the place, it's really, I think, made more noticeable because there's less songs on the album. If there were more, because Mystery is just as eclectic, but there's so many more songs and much more music, so you could put it together, sequence it in a way where it sounds coherent. This is just it doesn't.
I feel on Mystery though, you don't have the things that stick out like a sore thumb. Like Roadrunner, like really sticks out to me.
Yeah, even the misfires on Mystery sound decent.
Right. Or like the same band. I couldn't help but think in my mind, I'm like, what albums did Stevie Nicks actually sequence? I'm like, you know which one? Fucking Cat Dancer. That's the one that she...
Sandy Stewart?
Yeah, the Sandy... I'm like, she did the Sandy Stewart.
She did? I didn't know
No,
that.
I'm being sarcastic.
Oh.
No, she was too busy. She was busy coming up with that one word, Emmeline.
Oh,
Yes.
Emmeline. And just for the listeners, we all know I love Stevie.
We love her, but
I love her. To this day, like, I know a lot of people on the ledge, like, want to rip on her. I'm going to see her in my loft.
For the record, I don't hate Stevie.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
I love her.
it's the
flaky
Stevie
self.
fans that kind of drive me nuts. I think sometimes it's the it's the ones who will just like no, she's a pianist with interesting timing. It's like no, she's not.
Oh, it's interesting. It's interesting for
Yeah.
sure.
Jim, what are your thoughts on Derelict?
Yes. Once again, Dave Walker on vocals. This time he wrote this song. It's a very homely Americana type song. I love the banjo work.
I do too.
Courtesy of Bob
It's
Weston.
good.
It reminds me of the tone of the banjo on the dance on the was it Say You Love
Say
Me?
You Love Me. Yeah.
Oh, I hated that version though. I would take Derelict any day over that.
Well, I mean, but I think that was great when Lindsay comes up with a banjo and does a little riff, and then they just go right into the song. I thought that was cool, but it just kind of reminded me of that a little bit. So, we got Dave Walker out of the way. We thought.
So do you guys want my uncensored thoughts on Say You Love Me, the dance version? I felt like the banjo's like, oh, this is gonna be hot, but then the song's like a limp dick because they're like la 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 la.
Oh, okay.
Like they're back. I'm like, woo, this is bad. Okay,
It does peter out. You're right.
yeah, I'm like, woo, this is gonna get hot and heavy.
All these penis metaphors, limp dick, Peter.
Yeah.
Green Peter.
It might be rainy out in Tampa, but it's dry season in apartment 476.
Oh,
Nick, you had something to say?
Yeah, I'll just quickly weigh in on this. I love Dave's vocal delivery on this. It's just super. It is somewhat raspy, and I like to just do it in my own apartment. With a man in the raincoat, kind of an Eddie Vedder delivery. It's a lot of fun to do.
Yes,
So I would
this is a
recommend
quaint song. This is a quaint song.
It is, but it's Dave Walker's vocals imposed on that. And I think on YouTube a while ago, there was the audio of the Derelict imposed on the live rendition, the visuals of Big Love, and it just doesn't align whatsoever, and it's just so amusing to watch. Where the last 30 seconds, the audio drop sounds just Lindsay pelvic thrusting.
I'd like
Oh my
to.
god! I gotta see that.
I would like to present to you guys an alternate universe where Lindsay got fired from Fleetwood Mac, but they brought Dave Walker back to sing on the tour. Looking out for love in a night so still.
How about Monday morning?
Monday morning, you so look fine. Okay, Revelation.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No, go ahead. Any final thoughts?
I was gonna ask if you saw the interview with Neil Finn where he was talking about how difficult it was to sing Monday Morning on the Evening with Fleetwood Mac tour.
Yes, I did.
I'm not really convinced that is the case. I mean, I haven't tried singing. I think it's more so because of the cadence of the lyrics, but it's more or less just the same few notes over and over again. I think Neil Finn's a great vocalist within the context of Split Ends and Crowded House, but he didn't really pick songs that fit his vocal style, in my opinion, for that tour whatsoever.
He
really
didn't have a
dropped the ball.
choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say this about Neil Finn, because when I went to see them at the LA Forum in 2018, he was the only one in pitch. Most of the time, even though tone quality was, it's hard to sound like somebody and stay in pitch, but he really did keep pitch. Stevie all over the place, Christine all over the
Yeah.
place, and Mike couldn't even do all well in pitch in its speaking voice.
Dude, that was a missed opportunity. They should have brought Dave Walker back. Loving you isn't the right thing to do.
They should have brought Brecca Bramlett back.
Rebecca Bramlett, yes.
She could have outsung Stevie on the songs. It would
I love that.
Easily, yes.
I love that Becca Bramlett interview where, like, when Stevie Nicks was during the Time tour, like, oh, that girl oversings. Isn't that what Stevie said about Becca?
Yeah, that's what Becca said.
Revelation.
Oh yeah.
We're having too much fun here. Revelation. Bob Welsh is back. To me, this sounded like Timu Bad Loser drums, but that's how I felt when I was 9. I actually listened to it today. I'm like, okay, this is good. What do you guys think of Revelation?
John, why don't you go first? I know you love this.
Me?
Yeah.
I do love this song. More songs about change is permanent, but no changes are permanent, and that's kind of his revelation. I've Who's on bass here? Because
Gotta be
well,
Josh.
it's
Bob
pretty-
claimed in
is
the
it-
Q&A that he did the bass on this.
Wait a
yeah,
minute.
because it's so non-John McVie.
Oh, okay.
And he doesn't usually do Geddy Lee type bass. He's more of a sustained note. But I like the bass.
Oh, that's kind of a jazzy bass.
Yeah, it's more of a jazzy, quicker bass, 8 notes.
Okay, well,
Another one, I can hear a shaker, but Mick is quietly genius again on this tune. The ending, the vocal mix blend between Weston, McVie, and I don't know if Walker's in this one, Walker, McVie, Weston. I think it's just fantastic, and I love the way the song moves, and it's atmospheric, and it's wonderful Welch stuff.
It is.
mhm.
I was wrong about this. Like when I first heard it, like I think I had to age into this one to like really appreciate it. Jim, what are your notes on this?
Yes, it's a very Santana feel to the song. It's really, it's got a lot. When Santana gets on the stage, there's like 10 people, and they're good musicians. And I mean, there's no slouches there. Bob Welsh is a very underrated lyricist. A very full, complete song instrumentally. I think it's really. As a band, they were really coming together of just filling and making something pretty epic. And I gave John McVie the bass licks. I guess it was Welsh. So Welsh just really did well on this. Overall, I mean,
Or John was always getting kicked off the bass. First by Welsh and Lindsay on Tusk.
there's a story that they would send John McVie and Dave Walker to the bar, and they would call them when they were needed because they were having trouble with. I think Walker had trouble with his wife or girlfriend or whatever, and John and Christine were, they had their troubles. So, yep. And they were sent to the bar, and when they were needed to fill in a little stuff, you got to come back.
But they didn't have cell phones back then. Did they call like on the house phone, like at the bar? The bartender's like, "Oh, fucking Mick Fleetwood on the phone again."
They probably sent a courier or something.
They're dialing. There's a Q&A where Bob talks about his conversations with Lindsay in that transition in '75, and Lindsay was like, "How the did you put up with this shit?" And I'm sure he was talking about how drunk some of the band was when they're trying to put something together, and Lindsay's you know taking the helm, and everyone else is fucked up, and he wants to finish the album.
All right. Further thoughts on Revelation?
Yeah, this I was going to bring it up. I mentioned it before we started taping. There are two accounts of John McVie at this time period in 1973. One of them is from a journalist named Steve Clark, and it's in this book. And he talks about during the recording of Penguin, being John was wanted to go to France and didn't want to play. He had to be begged to come back to the studio. They had to beg him to come back because he wanted to go lay his parts down later. So that would account probably for why John's not playing on Revelation.
Interesting.
Or why he's not playing on The Derelict. But the other account I have is from Samuel Graham from the 1977 or 78. And he says that John McVie was paranoid about his playing at this time, but he was referring to the mystery sessions.
Oh.
So I don't know. It makes more sense that it would be during the Penguin sessions because John is present on all of the mystery songs.
Right.
But there are a couple of songs here on Penguin where John isn't there. So my assumption is that John wasn't available. So it's kind of a weird, to have such a great bassist not be available. And yes, I love the bass on Revelation, but it doesn't sound like Fleetwood Mac. It sounds like more Santana than Fleetwood Mac because of that bass. But I love the song. I think
Tony,
the lyrics are fantastic.
Do you think it would have been a better song with McVie on the bass?
I don't know what it would have sounded like. I don't know what it would have sounded like, but I just wanted to mention some of the song lyrics here. It says here, you know that he had all the cities in his own two hands, and he had control of the four winds and of the hunger of starving man. That's not bad. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's in terms of lyrics.
Sometimes I felt like Welsh was too deep for me. Like sometimes I just don't get it.
He's not going to get on the radio with it. He's not going to appeal to the masses with it. But I think that if you were someone that was into that kind of hippie mysticism, you would love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeremy, just stare at the stairs and let it go.
What's the matter, baby? All right.
What's the matter with it?
If you were on your way down to Emmeline,
just look for the blue lamp, and then you'll be fine.
See, I can get behind all of that. I'll get behind that blue lamp.
It's a deep blue lamp. Deep blue lamp.
The big old house is mine. Nick, what did you think of Revelation?
Yeah, sorry, my audio was cutting off and the visuals for that matter. I think it was because of low bandwidth, but the issue should be resolved, I think, at this point. Although now there's a second me on the screen to my
Nick, you were the John McVie. You disappeared for part of the session.
I had to go to the pub. My apologies.
Is the other panel Dave Walker? Is he hiding behind there? So, thoughts on Revelation?
It has very much a jungle beat that you'll find on a bunch of other songs, a bunch of Bob songs, and as well as Bad Loser. That's the easiest parallel that I can find, the biggest analog. And I love it. I love the first listen. The acoustic guitar also drives me in as well. The instrumentation is just super locked in, and it's a great demonstration of Fleetwood Mac's rhythm section right here on this song.
Yeah.
Lyrics talk about UFOs, all sorts of great lyrical signature stamps of Welch's, and I absolutely adore it because of it.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
All right. Well, moving on. The steel drum. Just when you thought you've heard it all, the steel drums are about to enter the building. Mm-hmm. Now, this is another one. Like at the time, I'm like, this is kind of mid. But I was loving it today. I said, Siri, play that song again. I said that twice. Oh, look at my phone just went off.
Sorry, I can't tell which speaker you are referring to.
Another great Christine song. Jim, let's start with your notes.
Okay, it's my favorite on the album.
Okay.
The steel drums were a gamble, but they really worked in this song. This song should have gotten some airplay. A lovely, exotic song. At this point, Christine became a fully evolved songwriter. Bob West then does a great job sharing harmonies with Christine throughout the song. It's just a great. I really love it. Still love it. Loved it. I think I loved it initially. I said, steel drums, okay, cool. I mean, they kind of branch out and do some things with instruments, you know. I remember watching a documentary on steel drums, and they'd take the oil drums and they just hammer it and hammer it and hammer it, and they get it kind of concave in it. And I think they weld little pieces to get the notes. It's pretty cool. It's something that evolved, and it's a great instrument to listen to.
You know what's interesting is when you think of chronologically Fleetwood Mac in order, like these three exquisite Christine McVie songs, we are just one album away from I want to sit at home in my rocking chair. Like she's come that far from that to this. Like she, you know, with three great songs that are signature Christine McVie, completely in the pocket, confident. You know, maybe not the luscious production that they would do later, but she really hit her stride with this album, I feel like. All right, who else wants to talk about this one?
Vocally, I think it's. Oh, I'm sorry. Go, Nick. No,
you can go for it. I'm fine.
Vocally, I think it's fantastic. The way she handles the especially the verses, the climbing notes and the verses.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you've made me happy, but time has gone by. I mean, the way she does all that.
Yeah.
It's the way she does that. It's and it's the only song of hers on the album that's not double tracked in terms of voicing. Mm. The Dissatisfied and Remember Me have double tracks.
Yeah.
This one, it doesn't. And so you can hear her voice kind of naked without any studio effect. And it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
God, Tony, you know, we were born on the same day, not the same year, but the same day. And my first note is the lead vocal kicks ass, because there's really no hiding here with this melody,
right.
The way she sings it. And I think she actually harkens back to her Christine Perfect voice a little bit here with that McVie control that, you know, she's going to have going forward. Like Warm Ways is so controlled.
Mm-hmm.
Over My Head is so controlled. She locks into this kind of this lead vocal might be one of her best, and I didn't realize it. Like you, Jeremy, I heard different things today than I have my whole life.
Yeah.
And this song, I just didn't realize how hard this song. Like if you try to sing this song, I guarantee you're gonna do it in 100 takes and go, "Oh my god, I hate this." Another song where she's lonely. I know she wrote the lyrics. I think this is a co-write, correct?
Yeah, Welch helped out too.
Yeah, I know she's got to be the one to write the lyrics because he would never write lyrics like this.
No.
I love the steel drums. I wish this was a hit. Really nice co-write. That's all my notes.
Who's singing with her on the chorus? Is that Weston?
That is Bob Weston.
Like Weston.
Yeah.
Weston, yeah.
And
like Weston.
You know, he's not the best singer, but it's serviceable. I feel like it really works with him just kind of chilling on that lower octave.
It's kind of like a Mike Campbell talking voice, and you don't know really what's going on there, but it's really brought down in the track. But when Tony said she's naked, she is naked. There's no hiding with pitch, tone quality. She really nails it.
But what a beautiful melody! Like she wrote a really I don't know. I'm kind of in love with Christina on this album more than I ever gave it credit for. You know what I mean? You know, I always somebody on the ledge is like, oh, I'm scared of the Mystery to Me podcast because you don't like Why. I'm like, that's not me because I always felt like Why was one of her best songs of all time.
Why is amazing. Yeah.
All the songs on Mystery, like she turns in some great songwriting. But Penguin might be just as good. The stuff that these three songs.
You are right though, Jeremy. It's only about 6 months since her 2 songs on Bare Trees, and the leap has been incredible. in tone. I mean, I think she was pushing her voice a little bit, and she was trying for something before, and now she relaxes her voice, and it kind of
There's
like she doesn't try and push it, and it really the effect is wonderful.
Because her vocals on the
there's
Chris. Oh, go ahead. Go first, John.
there's something about the tone quality that's different than this than Dissatisfied and Remember Me. It's almost like she's singing in a different room, or it just the tone quality is like it's perfect. For lack of no pun intended, it's just perfect. And the melody is, I don't know who wrote this melody, but it's just so beautiful.
I mean, when you think of her vocals on the Christine Perfect album, she very much had a sound that's unique to that album. Like, and maybe she sounded like that in some of the Chicken Shack stuff. I don't know it as well. But then, like, once we got to Future Games, what's that you do? What's that you say? And then, the Homeward Bound. I love those. I love the Christine songs. I feel like on Future Games and Bare Trees, there was like a weird Christine vocal with a more classic one towards the end. Because you had like the show me a smile, and then spare me a little bit of your love or whatever, which are more. But on this album, 3 home runs, total at ease. Like she's completely just.
And Jeremy, I don't know if you haven't listened to the Chicken Shack, but her vocals on those albums sound closer to this than they do to her solo
Yes.
album.
Okay.
I think she was switching her vocal style when she went out on her own.
Okay.
And so actually the songs and the 3 or 4 songs she has on both of the Chicken Sacks albums, she sounds like herself.
Interesting. I have the albums. There's like the 20.
It sounds really great.
There's like 39 Fingers or something, right? Is one of the albums?
40
40 blues fingers.
40 verses.
freshly packed. But her playing is different on the Chicken Shack
Yeah.
albums as well. It's a different genre, granted. You've got Bob Welch now, and you've got the Fleetwood Mac thing. But Chicken Shack is completely different kind of piano playing. It's very narrow, but she's so good in it. This is like she's got 6 different genres on one album.
Yeah.
All right, Nick, your hand was up.
Yeah, so in a contemporary keyboard interview from 1980, Christine McVie talked about her vocal style on her debut album, and she mentioned that Mike Vernon had pushed her more so in the direction of emulating singers like Etta James, and she didn't really feel like it was her. And I think this is the first album where she's really come into her own. And let's say someone who's only familiar with Rumors, they decide to listen to Penguin next. It wouldn't be a big leap for them to go from Rumors to Penguin listening to all of her songs, whereas it might be a little bit more challenging going from Rumors to, say, her material on Future Games or Bare Truth, just because her vocal delivery and intonation is quite a bit different. They're a bit of a departure. I think that these songs fit right in with all of her greats. You Make Loving Fun, and from a different vein, Why as well. I absolutely adore this one too in particular. Pretty sure this is primarily a Christine McVie song. The lyrics certainly are. I think chords, I don't necessarily know who was responsible for that. Bob must have done something to earn it. I know he did discuss the making of this track in Q&As, and they were apparently together in the room when they were writing it, so surely he chipped in some capacity. But I do view this more as a Christine McVie number, in part because she's also singing on it too, and it just fits her style and lyric writing for that matter too. Love the steel drums too. There are a lot of elements here that shouldn't work, yet they do. Steel drums can very much be hit or miss and make something incredibly tacky, but it just puts a smile on my face every time I listen to it. There's just an ebullience and jubilance whenever I hear it, and it's probably the track I go to the most actually out of any song on this album, maybe other than Night Watch. Absolutely adore every part of it. A lot of reviewers thought the same too. In the Rumors and Facts book, I think that was Roy Carr and David Clark. They raved about this song, and rightfully so. They talked about how this should have been a massive hit, big oversight on the radio programmers to not put this in heavy rotation. And I do agree with that quite a bit. I think this should be in the pantheon of wonderful Christine McVie songs that should get more recognition. I believe maybe some people might view it through maybe a mixed lens, seeing that steel drums can very well be polarizing. But I would be more than happy to play this for other people just to show the wonderful craftsmanship and vocals of Christine McVie. It's that good.
Well, when you were talking, I was sitting here thinking, like, I wish I could turn back time and discover this album in sequence. Because when I found the Penguin album, I knew Bare Trees and Future Games really well, and I knew Mystery to Me and Heroes Are Hard to Find really well. So I didn't realize till at this podcast how many firsts there were when you go in order. And I wish I had heard this before I heard Mystery to Me and kind of digested this first and understood it first. Because I made a lot of judgments about it, not taking into consideration where it fell in the timeline. So this podcast has been really, really enjoyable for me.
I would say that the vocal, we talked about the wonderful vocal on this. I think of this vocal paired with when we talk about Mystery to Me, the Keep On Going song, Bob's song. Her vocal on that is unbelievable too, in a very similar way. It's kind of like the way she's climbing up and down and maneuvering through the song without any studio effects.
Right.
And to me, I wish she had done more of this stuff where we could just hear the voice naked without anything else.
She's really relaxed on Keep On Going and this song. It's just like, okay, I'm going to knit a sweater, I'll knit a sweater. I'm going to sing a song, I'll sing a song. And it's not a big deal. And she sings Keep On Going sort of like Bad Journey, where it's just like, she's just, she's telling the story and she's doing it in a way. It's in tune, it's in tone. It's fantastic. I agree. Keep On Going was such a good decision. And it reminds me of this too.
I can't wait for next month's discussion.
That'll be a lot of fun.
All right, so I'm going to piss everyone off on this panel. I've listened to this album probably hundreds of times in my life. I couldn't hum you one line from Night Watch. Like, I know everyone loves it, but like, I can't. I just listen to it. I can't picture it in my mind at all. Like, for some reason,
Jeremy,
this song just never sticks with me.
Life is coming faster. That's one of the main. That's one of the main lines. Life is coming faster.
Where's the hook?
Part of it.
There's Magic Shadows.
Magic Shadows.
None of this is resonating with me. I've listened to the song thousands of times. I've listened.
How about Running in the Shadow? Running in the Shadows.
Taking long, but I'm getting strong as things go on.
Nope.
Please believe me. Let the magic.
I know Revelation's the one that sounds like Bad Loser, and the Bright Fire's the one about the roses. But like this one, like nope, it just doesn't stick. Like throw it again. But I liked it. I liked it when I listened to it.
I love it. Love it. To me, it's like Future Games. It's got that epic quality, although it's more of a suite. It's like it goes from a slow, and it sounds like, what it sounds like? It sounds a lot like Crosby, Stills, and Nash and Young.
Okay.
It sounds like something that could have been on Deja Vu, with all the block harmonies going on and sonically, I've blared this song in my house before. And where just listening to it, and you can hear all the instruments, you can hear all the voices. It's just beautiful.
Does he say the words "Night Watch" in the song at all?
I don't think. No, he just says "night." Night is coming faster.
Okay. It's very. Go ahead, John.
Is it night coming faster? I thought it was life coming faster. Or does he
let me
say
see.
both?
I'll check it out.
I'm not sure, but I'll go. Jeremy, you should know that, Running in the Shadows and Magic Shadows, it's all the same because Stevie and Bob were connected. In fact, Stevie helped Bob write this song and played tap piano.
Right. And Sheryl Crow, she helped too.
Angel on Tusk was really a rewrite from Angel on Heroes.
They're connected. I'm telling you, they were probably like Tony and I. They were born on the same day or something.
Well, it was also Landslide is about this song.
The vocal blend is I didn't realize, and it probably is a block harmony. They do it so well. It's like, to do block harmonies, you have to really have like a pitch intonation skill to pull it off, especially in a recording, especially if you're recording every 3 months. They were really at the top of their game. Christine's O's and the bongos at the end are just, they wrap it up so nicely for me. It's a beautiful outro. And then to go into Caught in the Rain, which I know we'll talk about later, but it's such a nice ending of this album for me. So I pretty much everything Tony said, but I got to give kudos to John McVie if that's him, because the bass is amazing too.
I'm gonna say something bitchy, but I feel like on this song and then Brown Eyes on Tuss, it's like turn up the reverb. Peter Green's about to do 2 notes on the fade out.
It is, by the way, it is Night is Coming Faster.
Oh, okay,
It's not okay. Thank you.
so Peter Green's on this song, right? That's the big thing.
It's the echo guitar. It's the far out echo
Oh,
guitar.
it's far and it's echoing.
I think they make a lot more of it than it is. It's just a couple of notes, really. It's just a few.
Jeremy, I didn't even know he was on this song. I didn't know Peter Green was on it.
Jim,
Nick,
go ahead.
What was the song Steve Nye was on? Was it this one? The
It was
organ?
this song, yes.
Yeah.
And it's very prominent in the mix. It's one of my favorite aspects of the track, too. Guitar work's incredible. I love the solo. I'm assuming that's Bob Weston, right? At the very end.
I think so too, yeah.
In the Peter Green editions, it's more or less in the middle of the track, to my understanding. Bob Welch said it's in the fade, but I'm thinking it's more so when they move from the first part to the second part. One thing I really enjoy about this is that it's a multi-movement piece, and it's super progressive in terms of its song structure. I love the talking drum at the end. He's brought it on stage so many times, particularly on World Turning.
Oh, Christ.
I'm really disappointed that he didn't do the drum vest on this song.
Okay, you got that one in.
Jim, you got any notes on this? I know you
Yeah,
Once we start talking about the drum vest, it's time to wrap up this podcast.
Okay. It reminds me of some of the Grateful Dead's more epic work. Mick Fleetwood's talking drum quite prominent, and Peter Green does play on this, but I played it a few times and I can't find him hardly. I can't really pick him out. A well put together piece of music. It's a real evolved piece. All of Bob's songs on here, really good. They're really thinking man's music. They're very progressive. And the reason they're kind of hard to distinguish from each other, I think they're in the moment type music. There's some music you listen in the moment and it's great, and it's kind of like, I'm not saying they're forgettable. They just they don't get retained.
It's a vibe.
Yeah. There's something about pop music, accessibility, that something that can be very simple lyrically and musically goes to the top. And something like these songs that are well involved, very complex, just don't light the world on fire.
See, I really would want the world to think that I'm a night watch, but really I'm just a honey high, you guys. I'm sorry.
Okay.
At the core of it, I'm just a fucking honey high. All right, Tony.
I will say that when Bob was interviewed in 1976, he said, Fleetwood Mac makes more sense to the public now. He said, Monday morning, I'm going to grab you in the crotch. That's the song that Monday morning has got that kind of thing. He goes, it's no longer a weird underground band.
Yeah.
And this song has a weird underground feel to it. Yeah. I will mention that because no one's mentioned it. Dave Walker, his vocals on this song at the end are freaking amazing.
What's he doing?
He does the high vocals at the end where they go,
okay.
Then he does the really high ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he gives it real color.
I'm like, I remember that part. Dave Walker was a bigger part of this album than I realized.
Yeah, he has some really interesting vocal parts on background vocal parts.
This has been one of my favorite podcasts in this whole series. I really enjoyed tonight digging into this album.
Me too.
Yeah, I love this podcast.
Any other thoughts on? Now I remember what song it is. I remember that. I remember the talking drum.
But John had mentioned it. When you get to the end, the last few seconds, they're playing the talking drum, and all of a sudden the voices go, oh, I get chills because it's Christine and Bob's voices at the end, and then they have the triangle and stuff. Oh my God, it's just.
And I think they changed from to ooh.
Yeah.
It is kind of like a sweet format too. If you really think about if Lyle May, listen to Lyle May's album, and he's actually has a suite and knows what one is. I'm not sure if Fleetwood Mac did. It might have been an accident, but this is kind of like a suite.
Yeah.
They clearly spent more time recording this song than any other song on the album, I think. I mean, they worked on this one. The work that went into it. And I agree, it's not going to reach the masses, but it did. I think that they wanted this to be special. I think it was.
It's like one of those Genesis songs that you're just like,
Yeah.
it's like, you didn't understand Peter Gabriel's Genesis back then, but then you go back and listen to it now, and it's like kind of old hat.
Well, there's a lot to listen to this album because I'm going to keep listening to this album after this podcast and doing this podcast.
People always. I'm sorry, Jared, but people always make fun of Bob's lyrics, but I don't understand half of Elton John, Bernie Taupin's lyrics for Elton John from those early albums. I listened to them. I mean, I don't know what the hell "Take Me to the Pilot" means, but I love the song. So,
I love Bob Welch's lyrics.
So, I mean, at least with Bob Welch, I get a sense of what's going on,
I feel like he's the most intelligent when it comes to lyric writing. He's the most deep thinker, I think, and then, you have something like Lindsey Buckingham, Go Insane, where there's like a stanza of just all Go Insanes or Little Lies. And, there's not really much, you could read it in 3 minutes, 3 seconds. So I think Bob's got the most intellect here, the deepest. He was a thinker and a musician.
Yeah.
Yeah, certain songwriters in the band, Lindsey and Danny in particular, very much struggled with lyrics. I think this was one of Bob's many strong suits that he brought to the band.
I keep going back to the word philosopher. I just feel like he was definitely like just a modern day philosopher.
I think the circumstances around Peter Green's contributions are quite interesting as well, in that he did a lot of session work around 1970, 1971. He did that very experimental album, End of the Game, that was mostly just jamming. Then he kind of fell off the radar, reappeared for this album, fell off the radar again, was arrested in around 1977, and then had quite the resurgence again in 1979, where he had a string of
all those albums.
Yeah, In the Skies. I'm pretty sure Dave Walker's talked about Peter's arrival to the studio and how they got him. I think Bob, Dave, both of them have discussed it and how he wasn't in great shape. Welsh in particular said, yeah, he wasn't doing great, but then again, I never knew him when he was in good shape, which is it's a sad state when he was more or less a shell of himself. He still sounded fine enough, I suppose, for the few notes that were retained. And then the same applies to Brown Eyes, where they only kept his contributions for the outro.
Peter there, yeah.
If you listen to Brown Eyes, if you listen to the original, it's called Yesterday's Tears or whatever it's called.
On the box set.
On the box set, they show you the whole contribution of Peter Green, and it's significant.
Yeah.
But I think what it was is Lindsey was like, that's not going on my album. That's not going on an album with me. And but I mean, there he actually gave a lot on the. Whereas this one, I think it's really just comes down to a few notes that he played in the background.
I mean, Dave Walker made it seem like he was very present on the track. He said that in the Q&A that Bob and both Bobs, I should say, just weren't cutting it, so they brought Peter in to.
And I don't buy that.
I don't really buy that either.
I don't buy it because the guitar, Bob Weston's guitar, is amazing in it.
It's terrific on there.
Yeah,
there might be some revisionism to a certain extent with Dave Walker, and you'll find that when they're recounting events 20 years in the past, where you amend the story a little bit, you embellish it a tiny bit. That's what we'll find oftentimes in these Q&As. You can only go off their word and then determine the merits of it, which makes it difficult to determine the actual story of, all right, how was the song actually created? Do these narratives actually align with each other?
Bob said he had spent, that Green had spent a week with them at Benefol's, I suppose. And he said, it was one of those documentaries, he said, he arrived and he had a piece of cheese in his hair.
Yeah.
That's Rock's family trees.
And then like a week later, he was still there. The cheese was still in his hair.
Yes.
Oh my God.
He wasn't able to discern whether or not it was cheddar or Swiss, but it was certainly a slice of cheese.
It was green magnesium.
Oh.
Fire.
Okay.
Green magnesium fire.
Yes.
All right. Well,
Mhm.
we're coming on a string of iconic Fleetwood Mac instrumentals. Danny, I loved Danny's chant. We talked about that last month. Underway. What are some of the other instrumentals that we had?
Earl Grey,
Earl
Sunnyside
Grey.
Heavy.
So I feel like,
Sunnyside.
yeah, Bob Weston had pretty heavy shoes to fill here, contributing an instrumental. It's different. It's different than the Danny Kerwin ones, but I like it. I thought it's a nice way to end the album. What do you guys think of Sunny Side of Heaven?
I'll go first because then I have to
Or Caught in the
run
Rain?
to the
Caught in the
restroom.
Rain.
Caught in the rain. Oh yeah, caught in the rain. It's finally a Weston song, and I think is it the only Nick will know this? Is it the only Weston song on any Fleetwood Mac album? Just Weston.
I think he did co-write Forever along with John McVie and
So
Welch, I
it's
think.
but as a single writer, I think it's
Correct.
his
Only
only.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love the lyrics. Great piano. Great piano by Christina and a gentle guitar by Weston. I'm assuming the vocal blend is just so good. And Mick again with the sparseness, and then I hear chimes all the way to the end.
Yep.
I hear chimes, 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 chimes. Perfect way to end a great album. I think this is a fantastic album, and I love this podcast too. It's been fun.
So what's interesting is I feel like Danny's chant so much to me looked like that back cover of, Bare Trees, kind of like a witchy, kind of the sun going down in the middle of the woods. But to me, this song here looks like this, like just kind of being out in the woods. The wind's
Yeah.
blowing. You're by a river or by a pond. I'm so embarrassed I said Sunny Side Heaven. Of course, it's Caught in the Rain, but just that really sunny, open air. I just feel like it's a great way to sum up the album. Jim, what are your notes on this one?
Yes, it's written by Bob Weston. It's a nice album ending to an album that I really think this album fits together as a unit. There's a lot of different styles and everything, but as a unit, it kind of holds up together. I love the layered vocals, and it's a very beautiful instrumental. Those layered vocals, that's just terrific stuff. Kind of churchy or something,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
very. It makes you feel kind of reflective. This whole album, just listening, and this just really puts the stamp on the album. Kind of.
I love Danny Kerwin, but Penguin would not have been Penguin if I think him leaving provided an opportunity for a needed shift in gears that, was the next link in the chain, as they say.
It forced Christine into a much more prominent position on the records, I think.
Yeah.
And forced her to say, I have to deliver pop tunes. But I love Caught in the Rain. I love it. I always did. I've read several critics that say it doesn't have the distinction of either Green or Kerwin's instrumentals, but I really like it.
And maybe that's okay, right?
Yeah, and James Ladd used to use this on when he closed his radio shows in the late 70s.
Jim Ladd, yeah.
Jim Ladd, yeah. He used this on his show.
Oh, great.
Yeah, as a way to close the show. He would, or it was either to close it or to open it.
He also used Safe Harbor as well for the intros, I think.
Interesting, but he used this one a lot, and it was probably the only time that this song has ever gotten airing outside of listening to it privately on an album. And it's a beautiful tune. I think it really works well. What I like is the chamber vocals, and that they actually sound a little bit like, what's that song from 10 cc's? I'm Not in
I'm
Love.
Not in Love, yes.
I'm not in love.
Yeah, it sounds like that.
Okay, yeah.
It's just, I love it.
Who wrote The Way I Feel? That was Christine and Bob Weston, right?
That
Just
was
her.
just Kristen McVie.
Oh,
But it sounds just like it, doesn't it? It sounds like this song.
It has sort of like that. I always thought that was a co-write. It's not. What's the co-write on Mystery? There isn't one?
Forever, there's a co-write there with the three co-writers that I mentioned.
With Welsh, Weston, and John McVie.
Yes.
John McVie. Okay, so So
Boom,
it,
boom,
it
boom.
does it sounds like what the way I feel a little bit. It just reminds me of it.
All right. Well, do we have any other thoughts on this song or Penguin in general? I'm getting really tired, so this is the perfect place to wrap up. Nick, go ahead.
So speaking of which, I remember playing this song for my friends, and I wanted to throw in some weird, obscure songs just to expose them to the brilliance of Fleetwood Mac. And it was later in the evening, and I had this song on, and then I looked over at them, and they had fell asleep to it.
Oh,
Well, it's
Well,
effective.
I have a question for Jeremy. Outside the rain or caught in the rain?
outside the rain.
Okay.
The Red Rocks version where she walks out and throws the flowers into the audience.
Well, how would she know how to play Dreams if she didn't start with Outside the Rain?
She
On the
did
back
it.
piano.
She missed her vocal cue on Red Rocks.
Oh, did she really?
Yeah, remember Dreams? She had to run up to the microphone.
It's been so. Oh yeah. It's been so long since I've seen that. I have that on VHS somewhere.
I will say my uncle about Penguin is my uncle is in his 70s now, and he experienced Fleetwood Mac from the beginnings. He came up as a blues guitarist, and my uncle is a blues guitarist from the 60s, and fell in love with the Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac, and he loved all of that. But he tells me repeatedly that the only album he liked from that period between 1971 and 1974 is Penguin. It's the only one he really liked.
See,
He loves Kiln House and he loves Penguin.
this is a hot
Okay.
take, but I think Penguin's a much better album than Play On. Hot take, I know.
I agree. No, I agree with that.
It's one I listen to way more.
Me too.
I mean, then Play On had some classic tracks that are like iconic, but then there's like depending also like which version of the album you're listening to, some of the sequences like really dragged for me. But anyway, Penguin scale of 1 to 10 on the Phonogenics scale. Jim, let's start with you.
Yeah, 9.1.
9.1. Shit. All right, John, you're back from your hiatus, recording in the meantime with your nephew.
Well, it's not pure rubbish. I would give it a 9.4.
9.4.
Well, good.
Tony, what do you give Penguin?
I love this album, but it is a mess in terms of sequencing and stuff. I would say I'd give it probably an 8.
An 8. Okay. Nick.
Well, people at Mojo, Ultimate Classic Rock, Pitchfork will hate me for this, but I think it's one of their best albums. I'd probably put it above Mirage, Tango, the White Album. I would probably give it a 9.7, actually.
Wow, that's great. It's
Okay.
Probably my top 3, top 4 Fleetwood Mac albums. It's that good. I listen to it quite a bit, and I recommend others to do the same.
This is a rare case on the podcast because usually when I listen to an album, I remember how much I loved it, and then I still love it. But this one, I fell in love with it more. I wish Derelict and Roadrunner were flipped. I wish side 1 ended with, and then Roadrunner was side 2, but that's not the way it is. I give it, oh shit, 9, either a 9 or a 9.5. I'm just somewhere right in between.
Wow.
I thought an 8 was a high grade. Apparently, I'm low. I love the songs. I just without Dave Walker stuff. If they had a couple more Bob and Christine songs on there, it would have gone way up for me.
But don't you feel like that the mess of Dave Walker is part of the story?
It
Like-
is, certainly. You
Like
can't really go
I
without
kind
it.
of love it, man. Like,
There's definitely a charm there
Like-
with him on it. It's like I don't hate. It's not the worst idea in the world. It turned out to be the worst idea in the world. Well,
but
Dave Mason too. So the Daves.
had those songs not been on here, to me that's just part of the whole charm. Like they had another. This was only out for 6 months before the next album came.
I don't like the album cover. I just didn't like it.
Yeah,
It's
didn't
a
like it.
mystery to me.
It's just
this
it,
one.
it doesn't tell me anything about
It's very literal.
but I hated Behind the Mask too, so that album cover as well.
I do
Mystery,
like
I don't
that.
mind it so.
I do like that it kind of solidified the Penguin as part of Fleetwood Mac's iconography.
Mm-hmm.
John,
Yeah.
I hate Behind the Mask cover, but I also hate Tango cover too.
Oh, I like
Oh,
Tango.
yeah.
cover.
I hate the Tango cover.
It took me a while to like it, but I hated it at first.
Let's
I
not even
like
talk about the
interior
time cover.
photographs.
The time cover.
Photographs.
Well, that's another penguin. A penguin
Another
hatches from an
penguin.
egg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, speaking
birth of
of
a penguin.
songs supplanting Dave Walker's material, so there was a box set that was released 4 years ago, maybe around 2020, and it was essentially a remaster of a lot of the Bob Welch era albums, and they included bonus tracks accompanying
yeah.
each album, with the exception of one, that being Penguin. So I'm curious, did they even record any material worthwhile
Right.
from the sessions? Maybe they did, but did it progress far along for them to include it as bonus tracks? Apparently not.
Nick, are you talking about the Rhino re-release that
I
came
am
out?
talking about the Rhino release.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
yes.
came out about 4 years ago. Yeah.
Right. They included bonus tracks for every
it's
single
interesting.
album except that.
All those bonus tracks aren't available digitally. You have to buy
They
the.
are not.
And I have the Penguin as part of this box set.
Oh, yeah, I have that too.
Yeah.
Tasty.
So, gentlemen, I guess we can talk about this later, but if everyone's able to meet, instead of Tuesday, September 9th, we could meet Monday, September 8th. So everyone can be here. So we'll talk about it via email. We'll talk about it. We'll figure out something.
I'm free whenever, so.
Are we
Really?
still rolling?
Let me wrap this up, then we'll talk for a second. All right. Thank you to my Patreon subscribers. Thank you, everybody. Please share this with the world. And I really think we did the album justice. I think we had a really nice discussion. So we will see you all next month for Mystery to Me.